Like anything in life, there's a lot of things that I wish people told me before I signed up for Uber and Lyft and became a rideshare driver. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 things that I wish I knew before signing up to drive for Uber and Lyft. Number 1, make sure you use an invite code. Now guess how much money my friends made as a sign-on bonus with Uber and Lyft? $1,000. Granted, this was back in around 2015 when the bonuses in terms of signing up were huge, and their bonus structures do change a lot over time, but you could still make an insane amount of money with the sign-up bonus. Guess how much money I made when I signed up? 0. Yep, I made nothing. The main reason why is they used someone's invite code or their referral code. I did not. I got nothing. They got that huge sign-on bonus. Make sure you use someone's invite code. If you want, I have my invite codes listed in the description. You could use your friends. You could just Google one online. Just make sure when you do sign up to use that invite code so you can get that bonus. One last thing I do want to say to you before I continue this video is I've had some people say, hey Mark, well, you're probably just saying that so someone uses your own invite code. I don't care whether you use mine or someone else's. Doesn't matter. Just use an invite code in general because that's the way you can get a sign-up bonus. Number 2, sign up with both apps. Now, I talked about this in a bunch of other videos, one of them being 25 tips for new drivers. I'll post it in the description. Make sure you watch that if you're going to start driving. It's a bunch of tips to make more money. And one of the biggest ones is sign up with both. It still blows my mind when I take a Lyft and Uber now and I talk to the driver and I'm like, oh, so how do you like driving for Lyft and Uber? And they're like, whoa, I only do Uber or I only do Lyft. Look, sign up with both. The reason why is each one has different bonus structures. It varies city to city and weekend to weekend even sometimes how much each one pays. I remember I first signed up with Lyft and I was like, you know what? Lyft is paying great. Why do I even need Uber? And then I signed up with Uber and I was like, wait, I'm actually getting paid more through Uber. So I was doing Uber. And then at some point, Lyft started paying more. So then I went to Lyft. I've gone back and forth. You can do the exact same. And who knows, maybe on a random Friday night, Lyft has a random bonus. Maybe on a random Saturday night, actually Uber has a bonus. Also, too, I've noticed the apps will compete with each other. I've mentioned this story on a lot of other videos, but I remember on St. Patrick's Day in Boston, there was actually a bidding war where I was getting texts from Lyft and Uber, and Lyft was like, hey, $25 an hour minimum guaranteed. And I was like, all right, not bad. Then Uber is like, hey, we're gonna do 30 an hour. Then Lyft came back saying, we changed our mind. We're gonna do 35 an hour, right? And there was a huge bidding war between them. Guess who wins in that bidding war? You. For a bunch of different reasons, make sure you sign up with both apps. Number 3, no requirements. This goes in 2 different ways. 1, in case you didn't know, Uber and Lyft is instantaneously flexible. A lot of people know it's flexible, right? That's one of the best parts about driving, but a lot of people don't know it's instantaneous. And what I mean is, I've had some people say, hey Mark, you know, I wanna sign up to drive, but I don't know if I can tell Lyft and Uber every week when I am gonna drive. And I'm like, no. You can turn on the app whenever you want. You can turn off whenever you want. The second thing, which is a big one, is there's no quota. There's no kind of number where they say, hey, you have to do 5 rides every week. If you can't, you're gone. We're kicking you out of the system. You could do 100 rides in a month, not drive for 2 months, and then start driving again. That's one of the best parts about Uber and Lyft. So if you do want to sign up, keep that in mind that I've had people, like I said, say, Mark, you know, I don't know if I can keep on top of Uber and Lyft and do a certain amount of rides. Hey, you can drive whenever you want, as much as you want, as little. It's completely up to you. Number 4, the peak hour window. This is a big one to keep in mind if you're planning on driving, because let's say you're like, hey Mark, you know, given my random schedule, I'm gonna sign up to drive and I can only drive Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Being honest, that's a non-peak hour window and you're probably not gonna make that much money at all. So keep that in mind. You're really gonna make the most amount of money during the peak hours, morning and evening commutes, Friday and Saturday nights. Now there are other windows where you can drive and still make a good amount of money, but this depends city to city. So I always suggest if you do wanna sign up and you know you're gonna drive in a non-peak hour, just kind of dabble and test out the waters, drive a little bit, and just gonna see how much money you're gonna make. The reason why is the last thing you wanna do is start off driving part-time and you're gonna drive in a non-peak hour window and you're relying on that money. Well, look, you might not make that much money at all. The first and only time I ever did this, drove on a Tuesday from like 1 p.m. to like 3 p.m. and I made, no exaggeration, around $4 an hour. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. And that didn't even factor in taxes, depreciation, all this kind of stuff. So that is something to keep in mind, that during the non-peak hour window, if let's say you're signing up just to drive in a non-peak hour window, that's just something to keep in mind, that maybe if you can only drive in a non-peak hour window, Uber and Lyft might not be the best situation for you. Number 5, extra costs. There's a lot of these. I'm talking about rideshare insurance. Make sure you get it. In case you didn't know, if let's say you get into an accident, your typical auto insurance might not cover you if you were driving for Uber and Lyft. So you're going to have to give them a call. Another thing is health insurance. Now, it does depend if you're driving part-time, which I feel like most people watching this video want to drive part-time. But if you're driving full-time, you're going to be an independent contractor. You now have to get health insurance. Another thing is the depreciation on your car. As you can imagine, the more miles you put on it, you're going to have to get a lot more maintenance on your car. Things like oil changes, checking your tires more and getting air in them, getting gas, of course. Any items to drive, like if you want to get an aux cord, a phone mount, a phone charger, all these different things that you should have. These are all extra costs that come into play. And in addition, in case you didn't know, you can either use your own vehicle or rent one. And if you're planning on renting one, that's a whole other ball game as well. I've already done a video about renting a car. So keep in mind, there's pros and cons to both having your own and using one. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of extra costs that come into play with Lyft and Uber. The last one being, which is a big one, taxes. When it comes to being an independent contractor, you don't get money back. You have to pay money at the end of the year. So keep in mind, if you, let's say, made, and I'm making this up, $60K as a driver in 1 year and you're driving full time, there's a good chance you may have to give back, I don't know, around 10 to 15K from that. So keep in mind, anything that you make, I always suggest, take about a third of that, put it in your savings, lock it away. Then after doing all the taxes and tax write-offs and everything, you might owe more than you think, you might owe less than you think, but saving a third is a good safe bet. Just to be safe than sorry. And now, a bonus tip is to make sure you drive part-time first. I've said this in so many other videos. Every city is different, and I get a lot of comment wars on this channel of people saying, hey Mark, I drive for Lyft and Uber full-time and I make bank. I mean, I've seen some crazy amounts that some drivers make in a given week. And it depends city to city, because I've seen other drivers comment and say, Mark, I drove full-time and I was driving for hours upon hours every week and barely making anything. The biggest factor that determines how much money you can make as a driver is your location, which is why I always suggest start off part-time. Test the waters. You might drive and be like, hey, I'm making really good money. It's flexible. I'm my own boss. All these benefits of being an Uber driver and a Lyft driver. Maybe I'll switch to full-time. Or you might start driving and be like, wow, I'm not making that much. Thank God I did not go into it full-time. If you're going to start driving, don't put all your eggs in one basket and start driving full-time right off the bat. Always start off part-time. A second bonus tip, and this is a unique one, you can get the sign-up bonus and then just leave. You don't have to drive again. Now, one thing I want to say first off is when it comes to the sign-up bonus, the terms change from city to city. Also, I feel like in the beginning, when it comes to Uber and Lyft, there was a couple different rules they had. I believe in the beginning in 2015 or 16, it said, okay, if you sign up, you have to do 30 rides, then you get that $1,000 bonus that I missed out on. Again, make sure you use an invite code. Now that has changed, so I've even seen sometimes they say, hey, you have to do 150 rides in a month. If you miss out on that 150 rides in the month, you don't get any sign-on bonus. Keep that in mind. I suggest reading the fine print because every bonus structure is different and it also changes from time to time and city to city. But overall, you could sign up, get that sign-up bonus. You have to do a certain amount of rides, like I said, sometimes within a certain time frame. But after you do that, you could just not drive again. I had friends who did those 30 rides. Remember, the bonuses were a lot better back in the day. But they did those 30 rides, they got that extra grand, and they're like, you know what? I'm kind of all set with this Uber and Lyft thing, and they never drove ever again. For the bonuses, they don't have any clauses that say, hey, after you get this bonus, after you get this grand or whatever, you have to drive for another 2 months. You have to put in this many rides. There's nothing like that. You get that bonus, you can bounce out if you want. One thing I will say, just in case, since they do change their bonus structure, I do want to say, make sure you do read the fine print for everything. But overall, I'm telling you, you can drive, get that sign-up bonus, bounce out, and that's it.